Hey everyone, how you doing today? Expert number 2 of the week. We're bringing back Rylas Dana. How you doing, sir?
Hi, doing great.
Hey man, I really appreciate you taking the effort. We talked yesterday off camera or last week off camera about really helping people understand what a trust is. And I know you spent some time over the weekend putting together a PowerPoint for us. So Rylas, why don't you go ahead and take us through this? People need to understand what a trust is. I think everybody hears about it. They probably know they should have one. But I don't know that enough people have taken the advantage of really putting a trust together. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Take us through this.
Yeah, last week you said PowerPoint. I love PowerPoint. So I was like, all right.
Let's do it.
I got a PowerPoint. I can PowerPoint. This is one that I use in my client meetings.
Okay.
And then I've made some updates, and I made a presentation specifically for your audience, the one rental at a time audience, and for us to have a conversation together.
Cool.
So as I was saying off air, we're going to start with the basics. You know, people will call me, they want to talk asset protection, they want to talk this and that, but you gotta walk before you run. So we're going to go through just some of the basics, and then we'll lay out some of the concepts for some more advanced estate planning topics that we can get into in the later week.
Okay.
So all right, let's go fast and kind of the beginning. So what is a trust? It's a legal document created by a person called the trustor. So I use this briefcase to represent the trustor who's in charge. Sometimes it's called the settlor or the trust maker, but the person that makes the trust. The trustee, I use this green bookkeeper hat to show the manager, so who's in charge of it.
I like it.
And then the beneficiary, who gets the stuff, the hand.
Gimme.
Obvious symbol. Yeah, that's a good symbol for a beneficiary, right?
Yeah, good choice.
So usually the person that creates a trust is all of those things. They make it, they manage it for the benefit of themselves. And what the trust does is it says who the successor trustee is.
Got it.
So who would manage things after you're gone or disabled. And then who the beneficiary is going to be after you're gone, and what are the conditions. So that's the basic definition of a trust. So we have those three titles: the trustor, trustee, beneficiary. And then the main function of the trust is to designate, you know, who's going to be in charge after, who's going to be the beneficiary. And really the main reason of a trust is to avoid probate. So it's fun to talk about the estate tax and all of those things. But right now, what is the estate tax exemption today, Michael?
You told me this before, and is it today? Is it 10.8 million? I don't know.
It's over 10.
It's over
10 million adjusted for inflation. So it doesn't affect very many people. You're there. So it's 11.7 if you want to get technical.
Oh,
in 2021.
Damn it. It's 11.7. Damn it.
So you're right in between there.
All right. Well, I was close. Thank you.
All right, so the main function, so most people will benefit from this more than the estate tax. So here's Mr. Estate's passed away, and you see his trust switch to that lock for irrevocable, meaning after you pass away, your wishes are locked in. They can't be changed.
So let's talk about that. So again, up front, you're creating an irrevocable, or what is it to begin with? An irrevocable or living
irrevocable.
Trust. Yeah, that one. What does it start as, and then it converts to this?
Yeah, so after he's passed away, there's his ghost. His trust is locked.
Right. And what is it called before it's locked? So he's still alive. He or she is still alive.
It's revocable.
Right. Revocable trust. Got it. Perfect.
Revocable. If you want to get technical.
Revocable.
So when there's no longer a trustor, or when he's no longer managing it.
Okay.
That's when it locks. It goes irrevocable.
Got it. Now I see the difference. Okay. Got it.
And it can be confusing. So if this name was the Estate Revocable Trust, after he passes away and we get the tax ID number, it's actually an irrevocable trust. So we write the name of the trust, Estate Revocable Trust, and then it's irrevocable.
Got it.
Okay, so all right, this is the basic stuff though, where it's going fast. So the successor trustee will distribute according to the conditions of the trust.
Yeah.
So that's the basics. Now let's get into some of our income. We got to lay some groundwork for taxes, and you're a tax guy, so you know all this stuff.
Well,
Income tax.
yep.
That's the most basic one. I think everyone understands that. You have to file the tax return. Gift tax. So a gift tax return may apply, but it's up to the giver to file the gift tax return if one is required.
Is there a limit today?
And
Is it? I thought it was 10 grand. Is that not true?
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Oh, okay,
so we're gonna
sorry.
get to annual exclusion.
Ah, there we go. Can you go back? I skipped
annual.
My question skipped one. Sorry, I wanted to see what the bottom was.
So we just the estate tax, very similar to the gift tax, but he's dead now.
He's a ghost.
After he passed away.
I like it.
And it's up to the estate to file the estate tax return if necessary. All right, so now let's talk about annual exclusion and exemption. So annual exclusion, it's now 15,000 in 2021, but a lot of people remember 10,000. It was 10,000 forever.
Okay.
So this means that if you make a gift of less than 15,000, there's no consequences. No gift tax return needs to be done.
Yeah, and I just want to talk. I want to talk about that gift for a minute. So that could be cash, stocks, crypto. I don't know. I guess a house if it was under that limit. I mean, it could be any of those things, right? It doesn't only have to be cash, is what I'm getting at.
Correct. Company interest, whatever it is.
Okay.
All right, exemption. So this is state tax exemption. That's what we're talking about earlier. So that's the amount that that you can pass free of estate tax, or it can be used during life for gifts.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
I did not know that.
So let's say his dad wanted to give $1,015,000 in 1 year.
All right.
So what that would look like? So 15,000 would be annual exclusion. You'd have to do a gift tax return. Say, Uncle Sam, I made a gift. It was more than the 15,000.
Okay.
And it would subtract from his exemption. So the $1 million that he gave during his life, it subtracts from his lifetime exemption when he dies.
So let me ask you about that. So I have a daughter. So if we wanted to give her one of our properties, whatever it is, say it's $1 million just for this example. What does it look like on her side?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Look how good you are.
Let's look at the estate tax.
Okay.
So he made that gift of $1 million, and then now he passed away.
Got it.
Leaving $12 million in his trust.
Okay.
And he only has $9 million of exemption left.
Got it.
So his estate would have to do a tax return.
Okay.
There'd be estate taxes owed. And I actually crunched the number for you and your channel. I know you would want this.
Oh, of course.
Look at this. So 40% after $1 million, and it hits it really fast.
Yeah, it does.
So look at this. So after 100,000, you're 28%. So it scales all the way up.
That sucks.
So the first, so if the estate tax gets you, it really gets you.
Yeah, it does.
So 40%. So the first $1 million is 345.8.
Wow.
And then so the next 2 million would be at 40%.
Oh my God.
So this scenario results in 1.145.
And again,
800
just for people
taxes.
that aren't into the numbers, basically you take the 12 million minus the 9 existing exemption that's left. You have 3 million that's applicable to estate tax, and you have just written a check for essentially a third of that, a little bit more than a third. Oh,
yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it hurts. The largest check I've written in my life, it was for a client, and it was about this much, and it was for estate taxes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's the estate tax. But it works together with the exemption.
So let me just make sure people see why this could be really painful, right? Let's just say my daughter's on the other end of this, and these were our numbers. I'm not saying they are our numbers, we'll just say it is. And we don't hand her $1 million in cash. We hand her assets. So if she owes this number, she has to sell assets to raise this cash, which will create additional tax consequences in theory.
Right. It could. Let's get into more.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
Oh my goodness. This is perfect.
So back to the question you asked about your daughter. What if you gave her one of your houses now?
Yep.
So we're going to talk about cost basis, which is generally the purchase price plus improvements.
Yep.
And then capital gain is the difference between the cost basis and the current market value.
Of course.
Realized when the asset is sold. Carryover basis, method for determining basis when an asset is transferred by gift. Basis remains the same as the giver.
Ooh,
all right, so this would be you.
Good. That's good.
And this would be your daughter, the scenario you just described.
Yeah.
So if you gifted her a house, her basis would be your basis.
Nice.
Not the current fair market value.
Oh, nice. Okay. So no tax consequences. No immediate tax consequences.
Right. But your daughter will have that, she'll have your basis.
Yep. So if she sold, she gets, I totally get it. Yep.
As opposed to a step up in basis, if the transfer is at the date of death or after death.
Exactly.
Then the basis is going to be the same as the fair market value.
Date of death. Yep. Okay.
Okay, so in this video, we started off talking about probate because that affects a lot more people, and income taxes. These affect a lot of people. So estates that are less than 11 million, they still have income tax planning consequences. A lot of times people will call. They'll say, "Hey, I'm thinking of giving my house away." And again, as the attorney, I'm like, why? I have like 5 more questions. What are you trying to achieve?
I need more data.
Yeah. What are you looking to do?
Yeah.
Because it's usually better to inherit things and get that new step up in basis. But if they're trying to do other things.
Okay. I got you.
Okay. So unlimited liability. There's an injury. This is what unlimited liability looks like. You have an injury in one of your houses, they're all at risk. If you own them all personally, that could be unlimited liability. As opposed to limited liability, let's say you own a property inside a LLC and the injury occurs in that property, then only those assets are at risk. So that's the idea of limited liability. All right. Question for you, Michael.
Oh, no.
Would you rather have your inheritance outright, free of trust, or would you rather have it inside of a trust?
Well, so
depends, right? You're going to want
more data.
You want to know more questions about the trust.
Yeah, more data needed. I've learned from you.
Right. So you want to know about the trust. So how does this trust work? You're the beneficiary of it.
Yep.
The first thing you're going to want to know is who's a trustee. So who's in charge of managing it?
Okay.
Is that someone else? Or what if it said that you became the trustee at age 35 and you're over 35? This is how I designed my Dynasty Trust. So we let the child be the trustee at 35.
Okay. Makes sense.
Distributions from the trust at the trustee discretion.
Ooh.
Which is you.
I like that. Yeah.
Power of appointment. That means you can choose the beneficiaries.
Oh.
So you get to choose where this trust goes after you pass away.
I did not know that. Okay.
Sometimes called the power of disappointment. Meaning if your kids upset you, you can say, you know what? This trust is not going to you.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
And all of this Dynasty Trust is outside of your estate. Meaning couple things. Yeah, meaning that it's non-taxable, that it's not subject to the estate tax again.
So let me just make sure I understood
also,
that. Hold on. That's we can't miss that. So let's just assume you're, grandpa or grandma or whatever, and you're worth, I don't know, $100 million or whatever it is, some big ass number. You set up a Dynasty Trust like this. In theory, that you're going to pay the taxes once, right? When grandma or grandpa dies, but that's it. It's now in Dynasty Trust. And I guess that's why it's called Dynasty. That amount left, let's just call it 60 million bucks, could in theory go through many generations with no more taxable events.
Yes. So the technical name for this, it's a generation skipping trust.
Of course.
And there is a limit to how much we can put into this trust.
Oh, is there? Okay.
It's currently also 10 million, the same as the other exemption. But you're right, meaning that everything, once it's in this trust, it clears the estate taxes to get into the Dynasty Trust.
Right.
And then it passes free of estate tax to the next generation.
Is it, just so I understand the limitation, is it the same 10 million or 11.8 or whatever it is now, or is it in addition to, like, you get 10 million here and then 10 million over here, so it's 20 million?
No, it's a different number.
It's a different number. Okay.
So
you're not putting them on top of each other.
They're the same number, but it's a different thing.
Got it. Understood.
So
I thought so.
we can get into that more next week.
Okay.
As long as I've been doing this, the GST, it's always matched the same. It's always been the same amount as the exemption.
That makes sense.
As the estate tax exemption. It's always been the same amount, but they're a little bit different things.
Okay. I figured, but I wanted to ask.
Okay, yeah. So now with that clarity, so in this trust, you get to control it.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose when you want to get money out of the trust. You can choose where the beneficiaries go after your death, and this is not going to be taxable. The other thing, a lot of people, they're not concerned about the estate taxes right now, but by having this outside of your estate, this gives you the best protection. If you got into a car accident, someone got a judgment against you, or whatever it is, no one can reach in there.
Yep.
All right. So now that you know that, I think you'd make the choice in the trust.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. And then, so as assets accumulate, so you can accumulate assets in the Dynasty Trust. So you can take your inheritance and you could buy, more real estate with it, just buy it in the name of the trust.
So let me just make sure. Hold on. So I'll just use my daughter, right? So she gets, I don't know, $3 million in this thing. She could, in theory, use that to buy more assets. And because the money came from the trust, it could be named in the trust and stay there.
Yeah. And then she's renting out the properties. I'd want to see those in LLCs, which could be owned by the Dynasty Trust.
Look at that.
Yeah. So that, the tenant doesn't really know where they're paying rent to. They're just paying rent to the LLC. And all this is happening where it's going to be transferred estate tax free. And it's all free of daughter's creditors or any potential creditors, like a divorcing spouse or a car accident. No one can reach in here and get those things. Wow. Versus if you accumulate assets, over here in your name, then all of those things are taxable. They're going to have to go through the estate tax when you pass away.
Interesting. All these things to learn still.
All right.
Yep.
So the opportunity. So I think that the thing to learn today is you want a Dynasty Trust. This is mainstream estate planning. Yeah. And as we've mentioned before, there's no such thing as asset protection planning. That's bad public policy. That's why you just want really good estate tax planning. It's the same result. If things are not going to be subject to the estate tax again, they're also out of reach for creditors. So I think the opportunity is, if your parents are still alive, you want them to set up a Dynasty Trust. If you're going to be receiving an inheritance, that's the best way to protect it.
Got it.
I say the magic of the Dynasty Trust is because someone else created it for you. If you create it for your daughter, you can give her all the control as a trustee, but she has none of the ownership.
Got it.
So it's because someone else creates this and transfers it. If you want to do more research, Generation Skipping Trust, that's a technical name. This is mainstream estate planning. This is one of my favorite topics. I'll ask you that question. Is it possible to change parents' trust after they are deceased to add a Dynasty Trust? What do you think?
I'm going to guess no, but I have no idea. Maybe, of course.
Maybe. I'm going to say probably yes. And that's as much as I want to say on the internet, but I'll say probably yes through a decanting. So there's Arizona's had the law for a while I've decanted several trusts, but decanting means to it's a way to non-judicially, so without court, to amend irrevocable trust.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So and the other takeaway is, set up your children with a dynasty trust.
Yeah.
So this is the first conversation in asset protection. So once you have these things set up, then you can go on to the next level. And I think we're out of time today.
Yep. This is a lot of fun. Well, show the next slide so people can know where to find you, because this is the kind of stuff people need. DanaLegalHelp.com. Folks, he's going to be coming back next Monday at 9 o'clock Pacific to go next level on this. I learned a lot in this, and I have a trust, right? I've got step one, but now I need to start thinking about a dynasty trust because I do not have one.
Yeah, you need that. And next week will be fun too. So next week we'll get deep into the married trust options, like what happens after you pass away, and different things that you can do. So I'll give you some really good stuff when you go talk to your attorney.
Very cool, man. Thank you very much for your time, man. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. This was awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you.